Aloha e malama pono. Today we're going to go over our first lesson that we use for Wing Chun Kung Fu, and it's also a basis found in Jeet Kune. So we're going to do this so that we can help Bryce and Lance remember their first class. Alright? So it starts with Jingling, with a show of respect. So from here, we're going to bring our hands in front. 1. We're going to drop to 1 foot, and 2, hiding the fist. Then we're going to extend that. 3, open the hands. 4, back to back. 5, roll in, come back in. 6, stand up. 7. We come in peace. We look forward to see the good in others. We train in mutual respect. Now we're going to do that all as one motion. Ready, gentlemen? Jingli. Excellent. So that's the first homework, is to work on that. Our second thing that we're going to work on is the single chung choi. So to work on that, I'm going to face you to make it easier for you to see. Bryce and Lance are going to come up right behind me here so that they can see themselves. And from here, we're going to drop into our baizhang. So we're going to cross our arms, our toes come apart, our heels come out, and we drop ourselves into the goat riding stance, also known as the silk horse. From here, our hands come into Wu Sao on center line. The rear hand is going to fire first in single chung choi. So it's like a dragon spitting fire. The hand comes up like it would as a cartridge in a magazine coming up into the feeding point to go down the muzzle, right? So then bang, and there's that little bit of a wrist action there. Then as you execute the second one, your elbow relaxes, but your hand still stays facing forward. So the elbow relaxes, hand comes back, as the other hand comes up to fire. Bang. Okay, so when they're first learning, I go ahead and have the hands closed so they can work on the wrist action. As they get better, one hand is open and one hand is closed. Okay, ready, gentlemen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Now, technique and accuracy is more important than power and speed here. You definitely want that wrist angle to be set. Imagine, if you will, if you were using a firearm clear, then if I have the pistol on line, right, and you can see the laser dot there, then if after the end of the punch you drop your hand, then you wouldn't be able to fire a second round. But if after the punch you just relax the elbow a little bit and allow the wrist to recoil, then it would still be accurate, all right? You'd still be able to execute. So to help develop this, if Bryce is in front of me here, he's going to set himself up in Wu Sao, and he's going to execute one of his single chung choi punches, right? So go ahead and execute one of your punches. Now I want to set the distance so that in real life he would hit me, right? And then I'm just going to go just out of range. So this is their first class. I don't want them to punch each other in the face at home. And then I'm going to create a target for them, a very narrow target, and my thumbs are on the bottom so that the hand can't make that classic mistake. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Lance, take his place. So then we want to give both of them a chance to try it. So then Lance comes out in Wu Sao. He has one hand here. I'm anchoring so that he can't make that classic mistake of making too big a motion, but that it stays tight and in line, right? So that he becomes a human Gatling gun. Okay, ready? 1, 2, relax your shoulders. 3, 4, 5. Good. Now the partner drill that I want them to do at home is to do exactly that, facing each other. So if they're here facing each other, right? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, have this closer. 5. Good. Now switch rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax your shoulders more. So this is a good way to also correct small things. In Bryce's case, he has to make sure that that non-firing hand is protecting his throat. And in Lance's case, he's like giving too much shoulder energy and not relaxing into the baizhang and letting the core do more of the work. All right? So that would be the first thing that they would learn in terms of actual technique. The second is what we call paksa. So if we're facing forward again, and we're in our baizhang, so go ahead and set your feet how I taught you, toes in, heels out. Then, if you were looking from above, it's like an almond shape, like your eyes, but looking down, right? So your hands are just going to trade places. So they're going to go around that almond shape to trade places. And in addition to that, your feet are going to be like you stopped on ice skates. So your body line would turn 45 degrees, turn 45 degrees, turn 45 degrees, turn 45 degrees. That's how your body line would adjust. Now you want to do these simultaneously. So if this one was doing the palm defense, right? So all these things, the terminology, right? Sao just means hand. So when we say Wu Sao, we're saying war hands. In this case, it's Pak Sao, right? So now, as the palms trade, the footwork and the body shift from core to extremity happens simultaneously. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there's that little relaxation of the wrist. So it's not just a gross motor movement. Your wrist is flexible and has a little bit of a pop as it comes to its conclusion, intercepting the incoming weapon. So let's take a look at that as now a partner drill. So if he is punching me, right, I'm going to start out already with my pak engaged. And now to help him practice that center line chainsaw action, he's going to go over his own arm to punch. And then I'm going to execute the pak sao. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, in this drill, because this is their first day, we're going to tie into this some safety that's also tactical and practical. So the tactical side of this is that when he's set up, I want to move the target, which is me. So when this punch fires, my footwork and my body angle makes it where he just misses. Like if he had hairy hands, I could feel the hair on the back of his hands whisk by my unshaven face, right? So that would be the idea. So the first defense is don't be there. So as the weapon fires, I make him just miss. And then the scary part is I have to be able to have the confidence to maintain that structure when he fires the next shot without the hands. So he punches again. By the time he gets there, I've made him just miss again. All right? Now, the second aspect to this, to stay tactical and practical, is that I'm also moving the incoming weapon. So the hand makes it where only a quarter of an inch, right? Only a centimeter or so here makes it a big miss by the time it would get to my face. So then he fires over his arm again, boom. I'm moving the incoming weapon, and it's not a brute force thing. There's that little bit of a pop, right? That little bit of the dim mach, 1 inch, 0 inch type of energy going into his forearm. And right now he's feeling that, right? Because you have the muscle that controls your hands, the brachioradialis and tensor carpi that controls your hand. And I'm actually targeting a very specific point. So that's the concept there. Now the third concept for the beginner is that my set distance to begin with makes it where he's just a little bit too far away to actually hit me. That's important because guaranteed when these two guys get home and start playing with this, if I don't teach them to control this distance, that'll happen within 5 minutes, okay? So we want to practice with the safety already built into the training because we need to defeat any fear and transform that into courage. This is super important because the whole thing that makes this so dangerous is that it's difficult to perceive. It's easy to see around John Wayne coming at you. It's much harder to perceive something that's coming directly at you in terms of perception. Your perspective gets thrown. So let's let Lance have a try at this as well. Okay. So he fires one of his shots, right? I'm creating this window for him. Now I'm gonna set it up with the Pak style, right? So when I count, he fires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Notice my elbow stays in. We don't want to be this way. We want our whole arm as a defense, because just in case the next one fired low, I'd already have an ability to intercept and deal with that if I had to. So conceptually, all of these build on each other like Legos. So in the beginning, it might only be a single shot like this, but later he punches again. We can enter and culminate to ending the fight by entering his space, trapping him, controlling him, and delivering the barrage that the single Chung Choi changes and transforms itself into the straight blast. So this is kind of a progression that if you do it crawl, walk, run, you end up becoming exponentially better if the foundation is solid. So now I want these two guys to try it on their own. So come back in, and what's going to happen is go ahead and fire your punch, right? Let him be like right there, and then now use your body angle so he would just miss, and now add your Pak style. Okay, ready? Now here's the thing. The person who's doing the defending has to be the one counting. Otherwise, if I'm the guy punching and I just feel like, you know, my mind wants me to go all over the place, then I could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, and then it becomes very difficult to defend. So you want to learn in a crawl, walk, run fashion. So here we go. You're the one punching, so you're the one counting. Go. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now reverse roles. So now you're punching, you're defending, and here we go. That means, guess what? You're defending, so you're counting. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Okay? So, to review, for their homework, primarily 3 things. First, Jing Li to show respect, and that would be our bow. Okay? Second is going to be our first offense, which is really a defense. And why do I say that? Because if he was going to punch me and I execute a good single Chung Choi, my defense and my offense are actually the same maneuver. He's here, he was going to punch me from this oblique angle, bang. My offense is my defense. So your second thing you're working on is that single Chung Choi, working on the coordination here and not being too tense, right? You have to make sure you relax your shoulders, and you have to make sure that your second hand is like a dragon spitting fire, not too low, right? Then from there, they're doing that in the posture of the goat riding stance of the Baizhong or the silk horse, where your knees are in, your toes are in, and your heels are out, your hips are tucked up under you, and your core is stabilized and solid, all right? So that is going to be the second thing. The third thing to work on our first day here together is going to be the Pak style, which is simply the palm deflection here. But there are subtleties to that as well. The first is making sure that you have that elbow outside 90 in strong structure, because as I demonstrated to these guys when they were learning it, Wu Sao, and Wu Sao is your war hands, is that if you do this right, it's difficult for a big guy to collapse you, right? If you do this correctly, it's difficult for the big guy to collapse you. If you compare that, right, to 2 other kind of styles of fighting that would be on either end of that, if he stands like a boxer with his hands in, right, then that's easy to compress. If he stands like a wrestler, that's easy to hit. So basically split the difference. There are times when both of those other skill sets are extremely valuable, and really honestly in terms of practical toughening up and learning how to weather the storm and be the eye of the storm, boxing and wrestling are excellent. They are both integral parts of what I grew up in, and boxing is responsible for my broken nose. But boxing and wrestling are super valuable. But as a contrast to learning the difference between the styles, the Baizhang here is splitting the difference, where you have one hand close and one hand far, and you're on purpose trying to deal with this close combat space, if you will, that is prevalent in Wing Chun, Jun Fan, and Jeet Kune. So with that, mahalo nui loa for joining us, and gentlemen, let's face forward. And here we go. This is your test. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We come in peace. We look forward to see the good in others. We train in mutual respect. Until next time, aloha.